I don't understand what you guys are talking about. So can I just go back and sit down and keep working on the icons? And eventually he basically dropped out of the Scrum process. So are there any artists who work under Scrum here? Or like any artists, like what's your opinion on all this?
In my experience, artists are strong with it.
Yeah.
Because they're used to going through asset lists.
Yeah.
For the most part. Or creating the title. So but then wrapping their minds around it is difficult. But once they do, you can integrate it as easily as engineers or animators or whatever. As long as it's focused on what's on the screen.
Yeah.
Which it should be anyway for users for this.
Yeah.
So you can focus on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, most everything is screen.
Could you see as something that will never work for artists? Or
Oh no, it works for artists. They just need to train people to get used to it. That's just a simple concept. Engineers can look for artists.
Yeah.
Like that. And so the designers should be very strong.
Yeah.
They like to focus on the user story
Yeah.
and what's on the screen.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for marketing.
Yeah. And you use the story quite a way. It's a way of spinning all the requirements around to that user's point of view. So you say somebody should be able to do this. So you might say like the game player should be able to collect gems in the world or something like that, or collect coins in the world, and then you go and implement that. Yeah.
Would you say that a user story is pretty much the same thing as a use case? So I see there's some similarities there.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's similar. It's just
It's trying to define a
yeah,
user
it's a subset of it.
function.
Yeah, it's a subset. I think so. It's saying this person, and you can put pretty much anything as a user story. So you put the level designer should be able to change the UV wrapping on the textures as well, and so it's like a requirement, a use case for the person. And I think you were saying like it was hard for the artists to embrace it. I think it's hard for everybody to embrace it, and there's a lot of inertia to convince people that Agile is good in general. And I mean coders, like especially in the games industry, a lot of it tends to be the Nike method, so it's just do it. And it's sort of ad hoc, and people will go off and work on their own little thing, and then boom, bring it all together and deal with the integration. And I think coders as well, like organising coders and being prepared for herding cats. Like just, it's not a sort of mindset that leads itself to being pulled together and collaborating. So I think it's hard for anyone to be brought into the role and get used to it. And I found it just takes one zealot, one person who's been to all the Scrum Master courses and they can see the benefits and they've been hyped up and turned into this zealot. You need that person to come in and stir things up and sort of encourage people to stick to the system. And I mean, like, I had one person like that on my team, and this is a really good book, by the way. But he just went out and out of his own money, he just bought everybody on the team like that because he loved it and he wanted to see us all work better.
What's the title of the book?
Oh, the Pragmatic Programmer. It's called. And it's basically, it wraps up. It's not particularly Scrum or Agile or anything. It's just saying, all right, you're a tradesperson, you want to do quality work, and this is how you do it. And it just treats it as a trade, and how do you hang your ball properly, basically, in code. And so yeah, I'd recommend that one. And there's lots of free resources on the internet as well for all this as well. And so yeah, I think and I think I've like the more you implement it, I found the more value you get out of it. But also like the more initial friction there is, like just trying to jump in and change everything. Like the managers hate it; they don't feel they have the same sort of control, and the customers can be really weirded out by it. It's like, no, I just want in writing what you're going to deliver and when you're going to deliver it. And so you need to introduce little things at a time. So maybe bring in the daily stand-up meeting and just sort of sneak it in the back door and say, okay, every morning we'll all get around and tell each other what we did the day before and what we're doing today. And maybe tell the customer, it's like, hey, tell you what, I'll start delivering every month, how about we just give you a build and show you how we're progressing, and say, yeah, great, awesome, like, cool, we'd like to see how things are going. And so gradually, if you introduce little things at a time, and then you can sneak it in. And I found, yeah, it does work the more you do, but I've also heard of situations where like partial implementation is less than no implementation at all, and it might be better to just wait till ad hoc if you only have a partial implementation of the Scrum process. But that said, Scrum isn't the only one out there. There's other methods like Crystal and others that are suited to particular circumstances, and so you can pick an agile method that is particularly suited for, say, a team of 50 people working on a medical device or something like that, where the standards have to be a lot higher. And so there are different methodologies out there. So.
You were talking about how in agile development, design documentation is kind of either eliminated or reduced substantially from the traditional method. In that case, how do you implement to keep a consistent vision, both artistically and from a design standpoint, for a large team like a game development process using agile development, if you're not creating consistent kind of guidelines?
Yeah, good question. And I mean, I think that's the thing. Like the games industry, it is different from other software industries, and there's tighter deadlines and there's different milestone requirements that publishers being the way are, and the marketing and the business behind it, it's not going to change so much. And so, I mean, from my experience, like we've implemented some agile methodologies in Nocturnal, our company, and but we still have an overall design document, at least to hold everything together. And that can be brought into the Scrum process. So for the first sprint, you might do nothing but design, and that'll just be part of the sprint. Is like sprint 1, get the requirements together, and so you can sort of shoot on these problems into the sprint, or say, okay, for 2 weeks of this sprint, we need to like treat the design document as a task. Because yeah, I mean, if you look at it and say, okay, this documentation is going to make a better game that people are going to want to play more, and more people are going to buy it because of this. So it's adding value to the consumer, so it's a valid thing to be doing. And I think it just comes down to being driven by the business needs. And I think, and and like Scrum isn't the whole business. Like it's just to deal with the engineering aspects of the problem. And the product owner is basically it's a person who represents all the customers. And so for a games company, like I said, I'm sorry I don't have any experience with working with Scrum within a games company, but the product owner would be the representative of the publisher. And basically on a day-to-day basis, they're keeping an eye on what the Scrum is doing and keeping it in line with the business objectives, whatever they might be. And so if you decide that you want to, I don't know, have like some funny little mini game in a game or something, so it's like, oh, this game absolutely has to have have a gem matching game in it for this component or something. And it's like, okay, this is a business need. This month we're going to put it in, and so yeah, within a month that goes in. And hey, if the business direction decides, hey, this is what goes in this month, like that's what goes in, and then it's just the team's responsibility to code that up. And so it's not driven by the engineers deciding what they want to do next. It's driven by the business needs. And so does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess traditionally programmers tend to like to do things their way, opposed to the user's requirements.
Yeah.
But I guess if you look at a traditional, say, software development like project, say, you've got to create an accounting system.
Yeah.
Agile likes to have an expert user basically on hand all the time to give continuous feedback, so it's got heavy user involvement.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to the games industry, where just say for an indie developer, you come up with your own idea, So it's not like you're getting a job from someone, it's your